All right, tonight's homework, we got questions 752 through 56. The first, A through F, we're trying to show the different ways we can divide fractions that we went over in class. Just going to hit two of them. One I'm not going to share with you is the keep, change, flip. That should be pretty easy. Keep the first fraction, change the division sign to multiplication, and flip the second fraction around. So one other one we did in class is finding a common denominator. So if we had 2/3 and we're dividing them by 1/12, I would get a common denominator of 12. So I would keep this 1, and then I would have to change my 2/3 into twelfths. And I know what I do on the bottom, 3 times 4 to get 12. I have to do on the top to get 8. And now I simply just divide across. So 12 divided by 12 would give me 1. And then 8 divided by 1 would give me 8. And then anything over 1 is always what's on top. So we have 8 for A right there. And I'll leave that up for a sec. I can do the next work up top if you're still copying stuff down. The next one, we have the supergiant one, or the drawing picture one. Not a big fan of drawing pictures, so I'll show you the supergiant one up top. We would have then 5/6, and then we would divide the 5/6 by 5/12, and we make a nice giant box there. When we were doing the giant one previously, and you can do a lot more of it in 7th grade, you're trying to get one on the bottom. So if we're looking at 5/12, if we do the inverse and multiply, we would get 60 over 60, which is equal to 1. And then what we do on the bottom, we also have to do on the top. So then we get 6 times 5 is 30. 12 times 5 is 60. So I got 60 over 30 over 1. 30 goes into 62 times. So then my answer for B would be 2. So other than the keep, change, flip method, those are two other ways. Again, you can draw pictures. I like to draw pictures when I'm working with whole numbers. It's just easier to break things down. But when you already start with 5/6 and break them into 12ths, it gets a little complicated. Plus, I'm a terrible drawer, so those are just two methods to work out. So you could pick one for C. For D, make sure you just turn your mixed number into an improper fraction. So again, I kind of call it the I had a little acronym for it, but I forgot. I always just multiply by the whole number, add the top, keep the bottom. So like I call it MAK. So multiply, add, and keep. So 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So that 3.5 is really 7/2. And again, you picture it, if you had 3 and you broke them all into halves, you'd have 6/2. Add that extra one to get you 7/2. For the 7/10, I would just turn it into a decimal, 0.7. It'd be easier to add. And then for F, we have 3 2/5 and 2 75/100. I would just turn that 2/5 into a decimal to get 3.40. And then it might be a lot easier for you to subtract. 753, not going to really get into it. Pretty obvious. We're looking at inverses here. That whole number 7 over 1. Everything should equal 1. If you need to look back in your notes, you'll see that they definitely have this in common. 754, we have a shape here. If you have room, I would probably just draw another one because they're supposed to solve it two different ways. Just do your best. The dimensions don't change. Two ways I broke it down on my answer key is this way and that way. Just knowing that if this is 7 here now, you have 12 on the bottom, so 12 minus 7, that's going to give you 5 for this side. 9 is up here, and since 3 takes over this, 9 minus 3 would make this side 6. So you should have no trouble doing base times height for both. And then looking at the other way, we have 12 on the bottom. And we already knew we had 6 on the side from our last one. Then we also know that this side is 3, and they gave us this 7. So we got a length times width, base times height, whichever way you want to call it. Find the area here and here, and here and here, and you should get the same answer. Next question is dealing with Mala, I guess her name is. She's serving 5 pizzas at the weekly meeting. She wanted to divide the pizza slices so they're 1/8 of a whole. So each piece is 1 part of 8. How many slices will she have? Again, we're dividing 5 pizzas. So we're going to keep that first. We're taking the 5 pizzas and we're dividing them into 8ths. Keep, change, flip, right? Keep this, change this, flip this. Obviously, you're going to have 40 pieces of pizza at the party. Represent this using mathematical sentence. I think I did that for you right there. More than one way to do it. You could draw pictures. You could draw 5 pies and slice them into 8ths and show that you have 40 pieces there. To the back, no calculators. Just looking at these problems here. Again, A, you're going to multiply straight across. Not going to get into that. I will help you set up B, C, and D. Oh, D goes straight across. Sorry, here the screen is. Here we go. Again, when we're multiplying decimals, we just line our numbers up. Don't have to line your decimals up like you do when we add and when we subtract. So that should be a pretty quick one for you. Make sure you move the decimals after 1 place to the right, 1 place, 2 place, so a total of 3 places to the right. We went, so when you get your final answer, you have to move 3 places back to the left. Easiest way, again, when we're dealing with mixed numbers, keep that method we did, multiply by the whole number, add the top, keep the bottom. So 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8, so we have 8/5 times 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7/3. And again, we're just multiplying straight across. Make sure that you simplify. So that was tonight's homework. Any things you're still not understanding, you know where to find us. We can break it down for you more. Again, we're always just asking for your best effort. So make sure you have something on your paper. And again, if you want to give us a little email, let us know you struggled. That would help us out. We don't have to go through the why didn't you do your homework in class. So, all right, have a good night, and thanks for watching. Hope it helped.